All right, so this is skill 4 for veterinary science, performing a simple fecal flotation. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Best practice as you're learning these skills would be to have the rubric guidelines so you could know what they say along each step. Things that you might want to verbalize out loud so the judges can hear and know that you know what you're doing. Another thing you should look at too is the Montana Gotta Have It list of what you're responsible for bringing to the event versus what Montana HOSA would provide. So as I start, I'm going to use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. And get good coverage, hands, fingers, all over. And then the next thing that I would do is put on non-latex gloves. And I'm just going to verbalize that I'm doing that for this practice video for you. I'm just trying to be PPE conscious here during COVID and not waste anything. And the next thing I'm going to do is assemble my supplies and make sure I'm kind of set up and ready to go. This talks about using a paper cup. I'm just going to use beakers so that you can see kind of what this might look like. I don't have real feces here. I just kind of made some hot cocoa a little bit thick here so you can see. So I'm going to use my tongue depressor here and gather a sample. This is a little bit runny, but it talks about grabbing 2 to 5 grams of that fecal matter inside your paper cup. We're talking about the size of, a 1/4 teaspoon is what you're looking at with that sample. And again, I just made this a little runnier than I realized. So fecal material is going to go in there, 2 to 5 grams. You want to verbalize it. You understand those quantities for the judges, and they kind of see that. And the next thing I'm going to do is add flotation solution. So I just have water here, but a lot of clinics might use sodium chloride, zinc sulfate. They also sometimes use a sugar water, which is kind of thicker, that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and add 30 milliliters, which is also nice with the beaker so that I can kind of see my quantities in there. I'm then going to use that tongue depressor to mix and break up that fecal matter. So I want to kind of get it all broken up and emulsified. Not so hard for a dog or cat, some of your companion species that you should be studying for this event. But for some of your ruminates, your animals that eat hay, your horses, your cattle, this is going to be a little bit harder to break up and kind of chunkier. So you kind of want to break up those clumps and stir that around there until you get an evenly mixed solution that's emulsified or broken down. After that, I want to filter it. So again, I want to get out any of those ruminates, hay, grass, etc., some of that fiber that just hasn't been digested. So we're going to go ahead and now filter this through just like a 4x4 type of a gauze that we use in first aid. And remember, this is a filter, so you want to pour slowly so that you don't make a mess inside another cup. So I'm going to use a beaker just so you can see. And again, this would be leaving behind any solids. You might be able to see some of those solids even just from my hot cocoa. They're on top, leaving me with this liquid solution, and I can discard this into the garbage from there. Now that it's filtered, I'm going to be getting ready to set up my slide matter for this. So I'm going to use more of a conical or a centrifuge tube. I'm using a graduated cylinder. It's a little bit bigger than recommended, but it's just kind of what I could find offhand for the moment. And I actually need to add a little fluid just so I can make this full enough. So just kind of ignore this step. This is not happening. So what I want to do is I'm going to pour this into this more cylinder thing. And the idea is that I want to pour all the way to the top, okay, and then I'm going to come closer to you. And what I want to do is I want to form kind of an inverted meniscus. So I want to pour just to the point where it's going to spill over without spilling over. So I don't want a meniscus, like when you're reading and you're cooking and you're looking for that meniscus here, we want that inverted. So I want it to kind of come over using that surface tension at the very top. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that very well, but again, the idea is that I'm just going right to the point of tipping over because I want that fluid on the top of this. So now when I go and I take a cover slip to a slide and I stick it on top, it's actually going to get wet because that surface is on top. So I want to pick this up by the sides, and I'm going to place my cover slip right on the top so that it gets that fluid in there. Now we wait. So now we want to wait for the eggs to float to the top and attach to the bottom of that cover slip that's sitting here. So we're going to wait 10 minutes. Make sure you verbalize that to the judges that you know that you're waiting for a minimum of 10 minutes to 20 minutes. At this point, you might prep your actual glass slide, so you might get your patient name, date, and that kind of thing on there while you're waiting. The judges aren't going to make you wait that full 10 minutes, so you're just going to verbalize that you would wait that long. So the next thing you're going to do after the 10 minutes is up is you're going to pick this cover slip up, hold it by the corner so that, again, you're not getting your fingerprints or that on there. Keep that fluid side down. And then just like you would do a cover slip in class, you're going to kind of drop that at that angle, trying not to create any bubbles as you prep that slide. And then keep your slide flat so that we don't lose any of that egg or anything sliding off or rolling off there, because then we're going to look at this under the microscope looking for those eggs and looking for anything that might be in that feces. As I finish, normally obviously I'd clean up my station, and I end the scenario with removing my non-latex gloves and using my hand sanitizer for hand hygiene. So that's performing a simple fecal flotation. Please reach out if you have any questions.